In this video, I'm just going to do a quick swap out of an old contractor grade style vanity light for a newer, nicer LED vanity light. It's a very easy job and I'm going to make it real easy for you to follow. This is Rudy from the Home Improvement channel with another video showing you how to fix things around the house. If you're a subscribed member to my community, then welcome back. If you're new to this channel, consider clicking that subscribe button below, and please like this video if you found it helpful for you. Okay, so without further ado, let's dive right in. All right, so we're going to change out this builder's grade light here that uses these big power-hungry light bulbs for something that uses an LED bulb, a little more power efficient. It's very easy. If you've got this style light, then all you have to do obviously is remove the bulbs. And on this particular one, these sleeves just slide off very easily like this. And you have a ground there, as you can see. Now sometimes you'll have a screw in these locations right here. They didn't put any right here, which is a good thing for me. All right, so let's get the rest of this thing out of here. Now it doesn't look to me like there's a box behind there. They've got these drywall screws threaded into some wood behind here, looks like it. So not sure what's going on, but we're gonna find out. Well, so yeah, they've got the connections inside the wall. And this is a fairly new house. I don't understand this, you know. This had to go through an inspection. What they do, install a box and get through the rough-in inspection and then take the box out and stick it somewhere else because they were too cheap? I don't know, but nevertheless, this is a big no-no. They've got connections in the wall. So whatever, let's undo this real quick, get it out of the way. Pull these out so you can get to them. Being careful. So these could be live. Oh, that didn't even have a good connection. All right, so somebody's first day on the job, I think. All right, so normally I would have checked the power before I disconnected anything. I usually like to use a device like this that senses the voltage. I already knew it was off, but I should have suggested this before we touched anything. See how this works. I'll turn the switch on. Right, power, no power. Now, if you've got more than 2 wires on your light, you might want to check to make sure the breaker's off, because sometimes there can be power on a different wire that's not the switch wire. But if you've only got 2 wires and you verify that both of them is off, I usually just turn off the switch. It's sufficient, but if you're just not comfortable with that, then go ahead and go find the breaker and turn off the breaker. All right, sometimes you'll have the wire just kind of poking through the drywall, and I've seen that before where there's still no electrical box, but at least the connections are inside the light, which is, you know, better, but still not really that good. I like to put these things in a box. Now, obviously, I've got wood in the way right here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this type of saddle box that is really made for ceiling fans, but for this application, it's going to work fine since we've got this wood in the way. Now, I'm going to have to take a tool and cut some of this wood. Obviously, the wood is not in the center of the hole. It's off to this side, so we're going to have a gap on this side. But I'm going to have to take my oscillating tool and cut this 2x4 right here so that my saddle box will go over this. I'll show you that in a minute. But if this wood wasn't in the way, what I would do is if this was an empty cavity right here with just a wire, and you didn't already have an electrical box, I would use this type of old work box right here. All right, this box will go, it's got wings that go behind the drywall and it will work perfect on that, okay? So that's what I would normally do. But in this case, I'm going to use the saddle box, and let me get my oscillating tool and show you what I'm talking about. All right, so here's my oscillating tool, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this about 1.25 inches wide. A 2x4 is 1.5 inches, but I'm going to make it 1/4 inch less so that I have a little bit room to move it that way, even though I know we're still going to have a gap here. So I'm going to gnaw at this like a squirrel with a nut for a while and cut this out so that my saddle box will fit over top of that. And I'm not going to bore you with all that because it may just take some time, okay? All right, so it took a few minutes, maybe a half an hour or so, and I got this side kind of chiseled out right here to accommodate my saddle box. And it worked out pretty good. I don't have a big gap on the right side like I was expecting. A little bit of a gap, but I think that's acceptable. All right, so all you got to do is push one of these springs in with a screwdriver so you can get your wire through there. Got my wire pulled back out of the wall. Now you definitely want to make sure your power is off for this step because the wires are going to be in close proximity and they're probably going to touch each other. So you don't want that if it's live. And another thing I should have mentioned at the beginning of the video is make sure you close your pop-up on your sink in case any crumbs or whatever falls down, or put a blanket over the sink. Anything like that will be fine. You just want to keep stuff from going down into the drain, okay? Should have mentioned that earlier. So just feed your wire through the back of the box. Best as you can. And you'll want to make sure that some of the jacket is inside. There we go. I think I got about a 1/4 inch there, which is pretty good. I would pre-drill the holes here and here. Now every installation is going to be different, okay? Some lights do have an up and down, like this one here with the glass globes. These glass globes usually point down. In some cases they don't, but usually they do point down. This light here does not have an up or down, but on the mounting bracket, the ears have a clear way to put it. All right, so that's the way that you'll want to do that. Let's pull that through there. We'll hook our ground up here while we can get to it real good. That number 12 wire is a little bit thick, so sometimes I'll use a long nose pliers to kind of help it around the screw, like so, and then we'll tighten it up. And then just twist these around. Put the wire nuts on. So I like to give it a little tug to make sure that those are tight. You saw earlier how the black wire just popped out of the wire nut and wasn't even barely in there. And that's the reason I like to do that, is because sometimes that's what you get. You think it's tight, but it's not. Give that a tug, there we go. And when I say give it a tug, I'm only pulling on the lamp wire. I'm grabbing the wire nut and pulling on the lamp wire, okay? Now we can try to stuff our wires. Might even have to take it a little looser than that to get that in there. Just stuff them into those saddles, that's what those are for. All right, I got the wires stuffed in there. It did take a little bit of effort. Main thing is make sure you're not pinching any wires when you're doing anything like this, whether you have a setup like this or any kind of setup. You don't want to pinch those wires. So we'll just re-level this and tighten it back up. All right, that's about as level as it's going to get. Now from here, you got it made. Just put the light back up and tighten the screws. Once again, when you're doing that, make sure and not pinch the wires anywhere. You don't want that. And just put the screws in. And tighten them up. All right, let's see if it works. Oh yeah. Works like a champ. That's all there is to it. Now, of course, there's different light fixtures. They're all different. This is just this example, but they all hook up basically the same. There's just little differences between, you know, how the light fixtures mount or whatever. So I hope this video has been helpful. Thanks for watching.